Welcome folks, today we're gonna talk about Lilith and how to use her in Final Fantasy World of the Vision. Now Lilith is a knight as a main job. A knight is basically a debuffer of sorts, which can hold his ground in melee combat. Now this is a great concept because it's reminiscent of the first Final Fantasy Tactics, where knights were basically your kind of tanks, which could buff, break shields, break weapons of the enemy. And those things were cool because it actually made sense. In this game, which is a gacha game, these mechanics do not work well because most of the time whatever the buff you land on the enemy is gonna one-shot you. That's the truth of the game as it stands now. Maybe less so in the beginning of the game, but with all the new jobs we have today, with all the spirit piercing, with all the defense piercing, resistance piercing, everything is piercing, everything is guaranteed, everything is super uber duper damage, you're probably gonna get one-shotted anyway with your meager debuff. It's just overkill. Like Little Lila DPS version has like 10,000 HPs and deals a crazy amount of damage. How does that make sense? We don't know. Nobody cares, but it's money, it's business, so that's what they're gonna do. So, two sub-jobs for Lilith, Soldier and Ranger. Let's begin with Soldier. Now, Soldier is basically a different complement to the Knight. I'm not gonna use the Knight as the sub-job because the Knight sub-job has three moves: Magic Break, Arm Break, and Speed Break. Arm Break is basically disable, which, as you can see, it may work in arena, it doesn't work in any PvE content different than the story, because PvE content in the far plane, enemies usually have immunity to everything except maybe a couple of ailments that the new unit that is released with the new content is usually able to apply. So disable is very much useless, sadly, unless you're playing arena. Lower magic for 3 turns. Yeah, great spell, great ability. The problem is Lilith is weak to magic, severely weak to magic, and the fact that you are even able to reach melee combat with a mage, either the mage is out of AP or the mage is AFK. So, no. Speed Break is good. Again, you need to get close to the enemy to deal this debuff, which is fantastic. Lowers agility for 3 turns, that's great, but it's just 1 out of 3 abilities. You have the Ranger. The Ranger is a different playstyle compared to what Lilith usually can do, and it's usually a good complement to Lilith, because Lilith's issue is getting into melee range, and having a Ranger as a sub-job allows you to deal damage from a distance, although Lilith is not a damage dealer. And as you can see, the only useful abilities are Sharpshoot, Barrage, and that's about it. Supercharge does the same thing as Sharpshoot, but it's not guaranteed to hit. Barrage costs a lot of APs, which is not a problem with Lilith, but it's still like so few things are useful. Now, with the Soldier, we get Paralyzing Edge, which inflicts paralysis. Again, it's very situational because most enemies are immune to that, depending on which unit release. We've got Hard Slash, which is a cheap ability that deals medium damage to a target. Azar Spin is a very high cost ability that kills yourself to deal large damage within enemies. If you're surrounded by enemies, you're probably gonna die, so you might as well do large damage. Or you can use Azar Break, which is like a better version of Azar Spin, as you can see, it costs less APs, it has one range of hate, which allows you to lob it somewhere like above or below you by 1 square. It still does the same damage, consume HPs, it's fine, but you can lob it at range, which is not bad. It's a damage dealing option. Azar Form is good for buffing your attack, and it doesn't really add that much utility to Lilith, but it kinda provides what she's lacking, which is damage. to some extent. I'm gonna keep Soldier, but you can play with anything, really. You can go with Ranger. I use her for Ranger like crazy, so don't worry about that. If you wanna use Ranger, go for it, it's even better, but I like Soldier. Support abilities, self-sacrifice. You've got to choose between self-sacrifice, Ranger lore, focus, and divine protection. Now, self-sacrifice significantly raises attack and lowers all attack resistance. This gives you about 200-300 attack, and you're gonna basically lose 8%. She's neutral towards range, maxed out, she goes at minus 8%. So this increases her vulnerability, which is kinda counterintuitive when it comes to being in melee. But really, realistically, there is nothing much you can use in place, because the attack you gain is so good. Now you have divine protection, which gives you resistances to debuff, but like I said, you're probably not gonna survive the move that debuffs you. So I mean, this ability is meant against other knights, other units that debuff the enemy without killing him. But right now, in the state of the game, it's useless. Ranger lore is good if you're going with an archer. You can go with range +1 and accuracy rate if you're fighting evasive unit. Or you can use focus, which is the best support ability for your ranger subjob, because it significantly reduces activation time, so you can use supercharge, and raises missile attack, which is good again. You can use this one and self-sacrifice to increase your damage output, or I'm going self-sacrifice and HP up because I'm going into melee. Now you have three choices for counters. You've got sword guard, counter slash, and reflex. I found the best uses out of reflex. I found myself evading a lot of stuff, so I'm happy with it. For your weapons, you want to use Flame Tongue +5. You can farm this weapon in the Farplane archives, no problem there. This weapon is great because it gives you fire attack up 30% and slash attack up 15%, which is great. This weapon is huge, trust me. Fantastic. Doesn't have any defense piercing penetration, so your mileage may vary. As for armors, I gave her a Brigandine with a shield type. That is because you get a lot of HPs out of this armor, and you get defense. Now, I'm not gonna bother with Spirit because she's weak to magic, so she gets one-shotted by anything. But defense is for getting close in melee. So to do her job, she needs to be able to stay in melee range and take those AoEs to the face. She's not a tank, obviously. So that Brigandine is great. So a shield type armor is what you need. As for Trustmasters, I gave her the bells. She doesn't need the bells. You can give her anything else. I just gave her the bells because in my team nobody else uses bells. So bells with agility and dodge. You can do anything else. She doesn't need the AP recover from the bells because she has a with her EX job she gets Divine Virtue, which raises her own max HP and recovers the amount of whatever. It bestows AP auto restore medium, so that's cool. So let's bring her into a fight alone with, I don't know, against an enemy that can probably one-shot her. Let's go to the Beast Den of Ice because we're fire element. So what if we fight, I don't know, let's go with the with Fenrir. Okay. The aim is not to complete the battle. Can I have a free party? Okay. You know what? Fire selection, remove all these people, thank you very much. We're gonna go with just Lilith. She's probably gonna die because she doesn't have any healing. Oh, I forgot. Espers, Odin is the best slashing Esper for neutral characters, let's just say. He's got slashing attack and attack up, so we're gonna take that. Also good agility, that's very good. As for vision cards, I gave her the what should have been her original vision card, which is Path to Revenge. As you can see, she's featured there. Gives some HPs, attack, magic is useless. Slash attack up 20%, fire unit magic attack resistance up, and defense up 10. There are better cards than this, so I go with the minimum common denominator here. You can give her the Muraga vision card, great. You can go and give her this one, which is even better than the original vision card, which is the Lilith. Critical damage up 80%, 18%, fire unit attack up 30%, which is great, and slash attack up 15%, which is total DPS. There are other vision cards you can give her, like, I don't know, this one, maybe? But as you can see, those are all DPS vision card. Not sure you wanna use those, since you got to be close to the enemy. Now, as a sub-vision card, you can give her the Leonis Castle or the Chocobo vision card. Those will increase her defense and agility. So I gave her the Chocobo vision card because I don't bother with Spirit. So let's go ahead and see how she performs in battle. Now keep in mind, she's one of the first units that came out in the game. She's a mega rare unit. She is supposed to do something that is not useful anymore, so keep that in mind.
Well then.
Okay, well then I need to raise my volume because I can't hear shit. Okay, now that's better. Okay, so the first thing you wanna do, assuming you don't have bells, is cast Divine Virtue. Now she doesn't have many buffs, so it makes sense to give her at least Revitalize. That's my line of thinking. We're gonna get 500 HPs because of Divine Virtue, and we're gonna get some auto recover for the APs. Okay.
No way.
They're gonna debuff me, that's fine. And we have poison. Now, as you can see, now we have two options. We can go with Hard Slash. It does 7k damage, which is absolutely not bad. Can I get up here? Or you can use AP Devastator to take care of two of these guys. So we're gonna do just that.
How's this? I've got this.
And there you go.
Did you
Perfect
think I just let
evasion.
you?
Of course, we're gonna die. And perfect
Did you
evasion.
think I just
See?
let you?
She is that good. Guys, she is that good. I'm telling you she is that good. I'm not telling you without a reason. We can do that, or we can do that and take care of these two guys. Will we crit?
Here.
Obviously. We don't kill them. Okay. She's gonna die eventually, don't you worry. But it goes to show you how good she is as a unit.
I've got this.
Look at that.
Did you think I just let you?
She's amazing. Now obviously she has poison, so she's now gonna die. You can use Trinity Break to lower the agility, attack and magic, I believe, of enemies. So you can use that, as you can see. And now she's gonna die, of course. So keep that in mind as you build her. She's not meant to tank, obviously, but she can deal some real nasty debuffs on the enemies. You can use the AP Devastator, as you've seen, to remove AoE APs. It doesn't drain them completely, but it does lower them. So if you're not fighting a battle against mages, and maybe you're fighting against fighters, you can AoE those fighters and remove a big chunk of their AP, which will probably force them to auto attack. That's the point. That's a strong point of the unit, and that's why that ability is given in the EX job, because the developers of the game realized that debuffs do not work. Thus, being a debuffer, the best debuff she can get is to APs. That's an AoE. If you want a single target, like you're fighting an Esper or something, you just use AP Crusher, which is a single target AP drain. That's fantastic. She's a great unit. I recommend you use your Select Ticken on her, because not only she has big boobs, but also she has red hair, and she's cool. She is a very good unit. So all in all, I recommend this character. There are maybe some questionable choices with Adelard. Seymour is a samurai. Samurais are useless, aside from raising bravery, that is. So definitely keep in mind, her missile is not top-notch damage, but it's good for range. So that goes Lilith and how you should be using her. Obviously, I cannot solo content with Lilith because that's not the type of unit that can solo content. She is there. Look at that ass. Damn. Anyway, how does she have bigger legs than ass? That's a weird image. It always got me thinking, is she missing something? Like, oh, this is so 90s. This is so 90s style. The broken back character is so 90s. I think someone who tries to do something like that is probably gonna end up in an hospital or in a wheelchair. But that style, it was used in like X-Men or something. You can see those very narrow waists, almost broken. But I love her, she's a great character. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next mega rare unit, how to use it. Bye bye.